Hello. Today I want to talk about the potential benefits of 639 hertz. And for those who are new to the solfeggio tuning series, excuse me, it's got a itchy eyeball. I've been covering many of the solfeggio frequencies, and 639 hertz is one of them. You're welcome to check out some of the other solfeggio tunings and other magical tunings I've discussed as well. The playlist it will be in the description box below. Now, so the basis of a lot of the solfeggio tunings and the other magical tunings that I've discussed are all centered around this concept of vortex maths, and that is when you can get any digit and reduce it down to a single digit between obviously the number 1 and 9. So it doesn't matter if it's 639 hertz, you would be, I guess, how you actually work with vortex maths is you add them all up. So you go 6 plus 3 plus 9, that is an 18. Again, you're going to keep reducing it down to a single digit number. 1 plus 8 from the 18 is a 9. And so with the solfeggio tunings and the other magical tunings that I've discussed, they all either become a 3, a 6, or a 9 within the vortex maths. And the importance of 3, 6, and 9 is discussed further in a sound healing course that my friend Robbie runs, and you're also able to investigate that further if you wish, or you can get in contact with me and discuss that further too. So with the solfeggio tunings, especially the traditional 7, they tend to be associated, or they can be associated with the energy points that many people may know them as chakras, and this one is often associated with the heart chakra. And so when you're thinking about the potential benefits of 639 hertz, then you'll probably be thinking a lot about the heart chakra and the physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual, if you want to go there, properties with the heart chakra, with that energy center. Now, the heart chakra obviously is centered around the heart position on the body. It's not exactly where the heart is, because as you're aware, the heart is slightly to your left of the center of your chest. But anyway, so it's an energy point. If you get into TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, you'll probably learn there's actually many energy points all throughout the body, and they refer to them as meridians. Anyway, we're going back to the very oversimplified Hindu philosophy of the 7 chakras. And they have other chakras, they talk about it. There's more than 100, but a lot of this sort of Western world, what many are aware of is the main 7. So anyway, to get further into it, so when you're thinking also about the heart chakra, also thinking about the placement of the body. Now, what sort of organs tend to be within that space, right? Predominantly the heart, right? So that is definitely one of the main organs of focus when working in this area. There's also things around the lungs. I know that often lungs can be associated with things of grief. Again, heart also associated with the emotion of grief when someone's going through loss. So any sort of situations that are arising in someone's space or their community around grief, this can be a potentially beneficial frequency for the release and the process of grief. So also, because it's related to the heart, and when you're thinking about in the terms of communication from the heart, that's obviously can be assisting in that area, also helping with one's understanding, or as I like call it, understanding and tolerance as well, again, but also not taking tolerance to the extremity of allowing physical, sexual, emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual abuse. We don't want to take it to that extreme either. The tolerance is important in our evolutionary shift of the human, but also we don't want to take that again to the extreme that I just mentioned. Again, going back to this sort of emotion of grief and loss, obviously that's also often felt with a broken heart, in the sense, right? A broken heart in regards to loss and grief. Also can be really good with this, tuning can be really good with letting go of jealousy, envy, and hate. Those sort of emotions, that emotional scale does not resonate well within that chakra. Those kind of emotions probably resonate more with maybe some of the other chakras that sit below. Again, also, it's still not a good thing for those emotions to even be lodged within the body and to remain in the body. As emotions come and go through the human experience, it's important that they obviously are felt and then released. Otherwise, they then become stagnant, and as you may now be aware, this causes what we would consider like mental and physical illness within the body. So yes, really good for letting go of jealousy, envy. Also can be really good with providing more calmness in your life. Can be really good with self-love. Anything really to do with love. I mean, especially unconditional love. When we think about that, we often think about the heart. We often feel about the heart when we experience the word of love. Calmness, I guess it just sort of comes back to if you're in a rather stressed state, might be feeling some anxiety, some overwhelm. Again, can be another frequency that can just help bring you into a calm state. Again, it's not always going to be the go-to frequency, especially if you're in a space of fear and anxiety, because of the hertz that it is. You know, we're getting up above 600 hertz now. It can have a higher pitch to it. And if I'm working with someone and they're experiencing a lot of fear, or even just at the start of a healing session, I wouldn't pick up the higher hertz range tuning forks that I work with initially, because it's can often be a frequency that's sort of, I want to say above, but it's not necessarily where the body and the mental and the emotional state is residing at that moment, and it can be quite startling. So just a good thing to think of when you're working with some of these more higher frequencies. It may pay to start out with some of the lower frequencies and then work your way up with them. You know, I'm not saying like each day you introduce them. Could be something like that. Could be each week. Could be a prolonged period of time. But, you know, even in the sense of, okay, I've got 30 minutes that I want to work with these tunings or these frequencies for my own self-healing or for working with someone else. Probably want to start with the lower ones and then work your way up to the higher frequencies. Okay, so also coming back to the physicality, when we think about the function of the heart, what does it do with our physical body? You're thinking about things like blood pressure and circulation, and also, again, the lungs. So conditions to do with the heart and the lungs, these can potentially benefit from the frequency of 639 hertz. And when we think about the emotional scale, once you start getting into the heart chakra and the higher, when I say higher, obviously it's more just in the fact of their vibration might be a little bit faster. Their obviously when you're standing vertically, they are on a higher measurement above the ground, right? And so with that, also the thinking about the emotional scale, and as you go up the emotional scale, you start to get more into the fifth dimensional emotions of unconditional love and beyond. So this is also very helpful with the human evolution as the earth is moving from its devolvement that occurred, moving how it fell into the third dimension, and that was never the intentional plan. Now as it's moving more back up into the intentional what the original plan was back into the fifth dimension. Frequencies like this are going to be very helpful with moving up not only just the emotional scale, but the emotion is basically energy, just energy in motion. And so with that, as we can experience more and more of those emotions in the higher end of the scale, we increase our energy, vice versa, they work both together. And then we're also pulling in that higher energy and anchoring it more into, I guess what you could say is the physicality of the human experience. So yes, it's basically helping the earth with moving back up into the fifth dimensional vibration of which she was originally supposed to reside in between the fifth and the seventh. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. So yes, I will leave a link to Robbie's sound healing course in the description box below. I'll leave a link to the previous vlog. You can check out also another vlog about solfeggio tunings that I touched on as well.